I full well know this, that turning a product into a successful business is a major accomplishment. But for my next guest, it's extraordinary because she's only 9 years old.
Come on out, Alina, and take it away. Here she comes.
Coconut sweet success. Alina Morse, who's revolutionized the candy industry. It all started just because she wanted a lollipop.
Alina from Michigan.
She's only 13 years old and starts the 8th grade in September, but she's already the queen of candy.
Zolli Pop was the only candy Michelle Obama served at this year's White House Easter egg roll.
Alina, the younger person ever to grace the cover of Entrepreneur magazine in 2018. Success magazine named her a 30 under 30. InStyle magazine named her one of the badass 50. Meet the women who are changing the world.
This girl's a rock star.
Zolli Pops are the #1 on Amazon. It's also listed #3 on the Forbes list of top 10 emerging food trends.
This girl is absolutely amazing. I love this kid.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at Junior Achievement. We have a very special program this morning, so I'd like to thank all of the teachers and classrooms across our footprint. My name is Jay Ediger, and I work for Junior Achievement of the Michigan Great Lakes, and we are pleased to bring this one-of-a-kind program to classrooms across our 50-county footprint. Here at Junior Achievement, and we refer to it as JA sometimes, we help young people own their economic success. Our mission is to inspire and prepare you to succeed in this global economy by teaching you about financial literacy, work readiness, entrepreneurship, and there's a lot of interest in this program across our footprint. We have schools who have registered for this program from Grayling to Greenville, from Lansing to Lowell, and from Portage to Pellston, both for today's live version as well as the recording, which will be sent out in the coming weeks. Thanks so much for joining us here this morning. Before I introduce our guest, just a few logistics. This is a webinar, so only the panelists, which is Alina and I, will be able to speak, but you can put questions in the chat and we will be monitoring that. If we don't have time for questions at the end, then we will compile those questions and send them off to Alina to get some resources and answers to those things. So now I have the privilege of introducing our guest speaker here today, who developed a vision for her company when she was just 7 years old. She is now a 16-year-old junior in high school, and she's grown that business idea into a multi-million-dollar business. Zolli Candy has been the fastest growing private candy company for the last 3 years and is on track for that moniker for a 4th year. Alina Morse is the youngest person to ever be featured on the cover of Entrepreneur magazine, and her company has been listed for consecutive years on Inc. 500's list of 5,000 fastest growing companies. Those aren't just candy companies, folks. This is a huge accomplishment. Alina is going to share a bit about her life and her business, and at the end of her time, she's created an opportunity for you to participate in marketing her business if you want to do that. So, Alina, thanks so much for being here and taking time out of your busy day in school to be with you this morning. So, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. I'm super excited to share a little bit about myself, about Zolli Candy, and at the end we have a pretty awesome opportunity with some very fun prizes, but we'll get to that at the end. For now, let's talk about Zolli.
You bet. So you're a successful business owner. We'd love to hear about how that happened. I know you've told this story a million times, but could you just share with us how the business started?
Absolutely. So when I was 7 years old, I took a trip to the bank with my dad, and the bank teller offered me a lollipop. You know, my dad always told me you shouldn't have candy because sugar is terrible for your teeth. So I asked him, well, why can't we make a healthy candy that's good for my teeth so that I could eat candy all the time and it won't be bad for me and I won't get cavities and you won't say no because it's good for me. So after that initial idea, I never stopped asking. I kept asking my parents, when are we going to make those lollipops? When are we going to make those lollipops? And after about 2 years of research and plant trials and lots of taste testing, Zollipops were born.
Wow. So where did you start developing this product? Like, you were 7 years old. I mean, did you go out to scientists right away, or what? How did that happen?
Yeah, so after I came up with the idea, I began tons and tons of research on Google, on YouTube, and I found out how candy is made. And after kind of the initial research that went into making sugary candy, I started taking the ingredient list of a normal sugary lollipop and replacing the unhealthy ingredients with healthier substitutes. Then I purchased some of those healthier substitutes just from my local grocery store, and I tried to make candy at home in my kitchen. And that that went to be expected. It was very messy. It was unsuccessful, but it did teach me a very important lesson. It taught me that I needed help if I were to make candy on a massive scale and grow a candy company. So I reached out to several different manufacturing facilities, or what we call plants, and plants do not they do not have any real leafy plants inside, which was a misconception for me. I was going on all of these manufacturing facility tours and factory tours, and I was shocked by the end of the tour when I hadn't seen one single plant. So it's just, I would assume it's an acronym for something, but just a little business lingo.
Right.
We did a bunch of different tours, and we reached out to several different manufacturers and food scientists to really develop a product that is not only sugar-free and allergen friendly and delicious, but it also cleans your teeth. So that's some pretty tough criteria to meet when creating candy. But after about a year of trials and taste testing, and not all the taste testing was delicious, but we finally came up with something amazing that tastes just like, if not better than, typical sugary candy.
Wow. So, yeah, at 7 years old, you got this. Yeah, actually, what you did is you identified a problem, right? That you wanted to have candy, and it wasn't necessarily good for your teeth. And so you identified that as a problem. You set out to solve it. That's just the basic concept of every business, isn't it? Is finding a problem to solve. So kudos to you. And then tried to develop that on your own and experimented it, and then expanded from there. That's great. So
Yeah.
what are some of the challenges that you've seen in starting a business that's been so successful, but as a young person, or even as a female? I'm the father of 4 daughters, and I see some of the challenges they face in the world today. So, how have you? What challenges have you seen as a young person or a female in starting a business?
Well, there's been a lot of occasions where people have doubted my credibility and my business knowledge just because I'm a kid or just because I'm a girl. And there definitely is that factor of inexperience per se, because I haven't gone to business school, haven't gone to college. And at that point, I was in elementary school. So they weren't teaching us about accounting and business. But rather than pouring my time into an extracurricular sport, I poured my time into learning about business and the ins and outs of running a company. And at 7 years old, and here at 16 years old, I'm still very knowledgeable, and I know my business inside out. And that's the most important part, or one of the most important parts of being an entrepreneur, is proving your credibility, proving your dedication, and your knowledge of your company. And so for me, I had I had faced a little bit of adversity, proving to people more than an adult would have to prove that they really are attributed to the success of their company. I had to prove even more so that I was the brains behind the operation. to buyers, to customers, to investors. And so, there's always been that aspect of me having to prove myself more than an adult or more than a man because of my age, because of being a girl, but I haven't let that stop me. If anything, it's really driven me to be even more knowledgeable and even more involved and even more, knowledgeable about being an entrepreneur. And so, there's even been some funny instances where I've walked into a meeting with my dad and the buyer or the investor will ask, let's not bring your daughter to work day. And as much as that sounds funny, it's also, a little bit insulting when when I am, working hard every day and have been working for years on bringing this company to life. And so I think, as we move in a more progressive direction where it's more acceptable for kids and girls to work in business and to be entrepreneurs, it just gets better and better. So, I like to be, at least considered a part of that movement and that change.
Well, I think that you certainly are a great example of what is as possible as a young person, and I love that part where, yeah, it drives you to know your numbers better and know that business. Just when you get challenged like that, that's a grit. So I love that. So, what do you love about business?
Yeah, I mean, there's a really interesting perspective in my opinion to starting a company. When I came up with the idea for Zolli Candy, not only did I want to solve the problem of, I'd like to eat candy and have it not be bad for me and have my parents, not say no, but I also found out that tooth decay is the single greatest epidemic facing kids in America today, according to the US Surgeon General. So that's more prevalent and more prominent than food allergy, asthma, and those are all things that we see in our daily lives. But tooth decay, interestingly enough, is preventable. And so, still being the single greatest epidemic, it's troubling. And so, once I discovered those statistics, I decided, this is bigger than just me. This is bigger than just, I don't want to get cavities. This is something that can help kids all over the country and all over the world combat childhood tooth decay. And so once I really, grasped how much of a difference we could make with a product like this, that's what really kickstarted my passion for business. But it really more so, business as a whole is a vehicle to help people. So, oftentimes you'll see big corporations or big companies that have either started their own charity or support an existing nonprofit. And, that's because a big motivator for entrepreneurs, for business owners, is giving back to your community, is giving back to organizations that you're passionate about. And with Zolli Candy, we decided from the start that we wanted to create a nonprofit called the Million Smiles Initiative alongside Zolli Candy. So all along, what's made me really love business is the fact that I get to help people at the end of the day, and that I do get to give back to my community, and that, hopefully in the process, I inspire some other kids or some other young girls to be entrepreneurs. At the end of the day, it's about supporting our mission, and selling Zolli Candy is the way that we can do that.
So, do you think it takes natural talent to start a business, or can anybody do it?
Anybody can start a company because, it's an innate skill to be passionate. It's an innate skill to get excited about, whether it's the environment or politics or, an invention idea. You can get involved with anything that you're passionate about. And especially with the internet these days and e-commerce businesses, and, not everything is as, simple or what's the word I want to use, hard to reach for kids. Brick and mortar tends to be, kind of hard to reach and out of reach if you're not necessarily already in the industry. But with things like Shopify and Amazon and, creating your own storefront, you can sell your product from the comfort of your own home. Anybody can be an entrepreneur as long as you have the drive and you have, this love for what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, if your only motivator is making money, or your only motivator is, something that can easily go away. Once you make money, that motivator goes away. Or once you solve a short-term goal, the motivation goes away. You want to have that driving force behind what you're doing. And as long as you have that and you have the means to succeed and you're willing to put in the time and try hard, you can achieve anything, and anybody can be an entrepreneur.
That's great. I love that. First of all, I'm impressed with the observation that I think you're absolutely correct that the entry to entrepreneurship is the door is open wider than it's ever been, just because of the opportunities that are available through the internet, and you don't need that hard, large capital startup type of stuff. But what really intrigued me was what you said. The key to starting a business is identifying something that you are deeply passionate about, because I imagine there's some dark, lonely nights when you're working on something and you want to give up or whatever, and that passion is what drives you. So I understand that you've had several passions in your life. You had an idea binder. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Alina's idea binder was a binder that I started when I was probably around 3, 4, 5 years old. And basically it was just this accumulation of all the invention ideas of my childhood. And, a lot of them were outlandish. A couple of them were already made into real products. And somehow I had convinced myself that I had come up with the idea. It was just kind of a way for me to organize all of my invention ideas from over the years, and Zolli candy was the last idea in the binder. So, really what stood out to me about Zolli candy as kind of my latest and greatest idea was that I did have that passion factor behind it, and that way to help people. And so, whereas my other invention ideas may have been fun or, more self-serving or than Zolli candy really was the one that I felt obligated to create and to follow through with, because of that aspect of helping people and contributing to society in a really positive way.
I love that. It's the idea I felt obligated to do something about. So that's a real indication of your passion for it. So thanks. All right. So you're a junior in high school. You're a two-sport athlete. Sorry. And you're running a large and profitable business. How do you make all that work?
But yeah, well, it's definitely not easy, but with the help of a really awesome support system of my team at Zolli and my parents and family members, they really helped me find the balance between school and work and sports and a social life, which can be tricky to find for any high schooler to find the balance, but especially for someone with a tricky schedule. But, really at the end of the day, it's about prioritizing and making some tough decisions. There's days where the choice is between making plans with my friends, or going to a sporting event to support my school, or having an important meeting, or going on TV even. And so I think a common question that I have to ask myself is, what helps me most in the long run? And that answer isn't always work. It isn't always business, because although we look at our futures as young people and say, well, the most professional or the most adult-like choice is probably the choice that's going to help me most in the long run. That's not always true. Having the experiences and having the relationships and friendships build as a middle schooler, a high schooler, and even in college, those are important parts of growing up. And those are building blocks that'll take you to the next step and the next step and the next step. So really building upon those childhood experiences and finding the balance between the real world and the kid world and the sport world. It's definitely tricky, but it's all about making those tough choices. And at the end of the day, hopefully, cross my fingers that I'm making the right choice.
Well, it sounds like you have, if nothing else, you have a very balanced approach to life, which is really an important perspective to learn. It's a perspective I'm still learning. My wife probably doesn't think I have it down perfectly as well. So that's great. So I saw a question in here. So how many different flavors do you have, and what is an ingredient that was good for your teeth? What is the ingredient that's good for your teeth, and how does it help them? Obviously without giving trade secrets away. Can you talk a little bit about your product and like how many flavors?
Yeah. So we have 6 flavors in our best-selling multi-flavor pack. And it's strawberry, orange, pineapple, cherry, raspberry, and grape. And so that's our everyday package. We also have a tropical pack, which has blue raspberry, green apple, peach, and watermelon. And then we have peppermint pops for the holidays. We have peppermint drops. We have peanut butter cups. We have caramels. So we have a lot of different products. We have taffy in orange and grape and strawberry and pineapple. So we have a lot of different flavors. We have a lot of different products, and we have more coming out very soon. So that's pretty exciting as well. But the teeth cleaning ingredient, the magic teeth cleaning ingredient in Zolli candy throughout all of our products is called erythritol. And basically, when you eat basically anything that has acid in it, even bottled water has acid in it. So that raises the pH in your mouth. And so the pH scale is from like 0 to like 10 or 12. And 7 is right about where you want to be. That's neutral. And so if you're above 7, you're acidic. And if you're below 7, it's basic. And so when you have acidic foods or drinks like orange juice, it raises the pH in your mouth, so above 7. And then that is when you feel, kind of like that gritty feeling on your teeth after you drink a lot of orange juice or you eat a lot of candy. You have this like gritty feeling on your teeth. It does not feel nice. And that's little holes burned in your tooth enamel. Your tooth enamel is the protective coating that makes your teeth feel, smooth and shiny, and it protects your teeth from cavities and tooth decay. And so when you have those little holes burned in your tooth enamel from the acid, it allows an environment in which the bacteria that causes cavities and tooth decay can get through your tooth enamel and potentially cause a cavity. So what you want to do is, have something like Zolli candy, which it makes the pH in your mouth neutral, and it keeps your teeth feeling smooth and clean by remineralizing your tooth enamel and bringing the acid levels back to normal. And so that's a really, a great way to think of it, rather than having gritty and kind of a gross feeling in your mouth after you eat regular sugary candy. You can have a smooth, clean feeling after you eat Zolli candy. So it prevents cavities and tooth decay for years to come with consistent use.
Great. Ingenious. Way to go. All right. So there's another question here that I thought was interesting from Leah from Jennison. What pricing strategies did you or do you use, and how do you find out what would work best?
Yeah, so, because our ingredients are, really high quality, and, they're either sourced from the US or all of North America. We really had to make some tough choices in terms of pricing our product higher than, your typical sugary candy, which does not cost very much to make or package. But we really value, not only what we want to put in our bodies, a healthy, good for you product, but it's also, more expensive to find a manufacturing facility that's allergen friendly, and that can create sugar-free, clean teeth candy with our premium ingredients. And so with all of that in mind, we price our product a little bit higher than your typical sugary candy. But we found that our consumers actually don't mind paying more for a product that is actually good for you. So our main consumer group is moms and families, to give to their kids, to give to their grandkids. And so with that in mind, we found that not a lot of people are concerned about our prices, because they are willing to pay more for something that's good for their kids, good for them. And also, we are food stamps, and we're food stamps eligible. So, a lot of people use some government aid to help pay for Zolli candy as well. And so there's definitely a lot of programs and a lot of promotions that we like to run with our retail partners like Rite Aid, to ensure that, you can pick up Zolli candy at as much of a reasonable price as we can offer it.
Great, thank you. So I have another question here. What selling platform did you start on, and how did you eventually start your own website?
Yeah, so we started with Whole Foods. Our very first meeting was with Whole Foods Markets in Southern California. And once we got into Whole Foods, we began expanding onto Amazon.com, into Kroger stores, CVS, Walmart, into more Whole Foods. And now we're in Rite Aid and iHerb.com. We're most recently going to be, if not already, in some Costco stores on the West Coast. So that's very exciting. And we also, during the pandemic, started our own Shopify store. So Shopify is a platform where you can create your own website and your own way of selling direct to consumer. And so we began our direct to consumer journey over COVID, and we've seen some great success so far, and we just continue to grow that program. It's a great way for our customers to shop the entire Zolli candy line that's not always available in store, and to get to showcase some of our new fun products in various bundles. And yeah, so we really have expanded throughout all channels as well as international, in about 9 countries.
Great. Well, one of JA's core beliefs is in the boundless potential of young people. We believe young people are capable of anything. So, do you think young people can really make a change?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And kind of like I said before, we have the resources to, make big things happen with channels like social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. There's so many, not easy per se, but so many opportunities to get your voice out there and to share things that you're passionate about, to share your views and opinions, and resonate with other people in your community and connect. And so, I found that through social media, I've seen more and more kids, and teens, of course, getting involved in politics and getting involved in, the environment, and, various nonprofits, and starting companies, and anything along that line, just getting involved in what we call the real world and the adult world. And so it's really a unique time for Gen Z especially to, really find people that they resonate with and, make a difference.
So maybe so we're hearing your story, and it's a very intriguing story. You're a junior in high school. You run a multi-million-dollar company. So obviously, you've seen some success in many areas of your life. So I'm wondering, are there some key things that you do that contribute to that success? Are there, tips and tricks that you could pass on, or things that really are important to you that ensure that you continue in the direction you're going?
Absolutely. I think there's a couple different keys to success, in my opinion. One of them being, staying curious and asking questions. And that sounds simple. It sounds, oh, yeah, yeah. If I have a question, I'll ask it. But I found, as people get older, especially, as people rise to high levels in companies, either a CEO or CFO or, any of those high titles, people begin to stop asking questions. They stop being curious. But the best entrepreneurs that I've met continue to ask questions and continue to, want to learn and grow and better themselves and better their company and better those around them by asking questions. And so, in my opinion, asking questions is the best way to soak up as much knowledge as you can from everyone around you. I'd also say, it takes a lot of motivation. It takes a lot of self-motivation to start a company, because there's not always going to be people, right behind you, watching you, saying, you can do it, you can do it. And it's of course important to find a good support system, but some of your motivation, a good portion of it, has to come from within. And so you have to be passionate about what you're doing. You have to find either a mission, a cause, a nonprofit, whatever helps you get up every day, despite whatever, troubling or tough circumstances you're dealing with. You need that driving force that'll keep you going even on the toughest days. And so for me, that's my mission of helping get rid of childhood tooth decay. But for you, it could be anything. And so identifying that passion, that mission is key. I'd also say, building a team. It's often, misconceived that, CEOs do it all. But as CEO, I have to rely and delegate to my team, because frankly, I don't know how to handle the accounting. And I'm in 11th grade math. That's not gonna help me crunch the numbers. But that's why we found a really amazing accountant. And now, I can trust and rely and delegate to my accountant Larry for all the things that I don't really understand or can't really handle. And it's not a bad thing to admit that you can't handle everything or can't get everything done in one day. That's why the best companies have big teams. And so it's really important to build a team. Business is a team sport. And so, finding those people that you can trust and rely on is really key. But, as just kind of a short motto to sum it all up, being an entrepreneur takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. But if you work hard, try, believe, and never give up, you'll accomplish great things.
So repeat that one more time, a little bit more slowly. I want to make sure I get that. Go ahead.
Work hard, try, believe, and never give up.
Great. So I heard a couple of things as you were talking, that passion piece again. So, you've really driven home that you need to be passionate about what you want to do, because you need that motivation to keep going when times get tough. Curiosity, I heard you talk about needing to be curious and continue to be curious. And just struck me that, those are really like kid-like
Qualities.
characteristics,
Yeah,
you know? So really the successful entrepreneurs retain some sense of kidness, as they move forward.
absolutely.
So that's great. And tenacity is the last thing I heard you talk about, is like never giving up. So that's great. All right, so we're moving into, Alina, headed towards the second half of this, where we're going to talk a little bit about the challenge that you have been generous enough to make available. But before we get into that, we all know what a pitch is in softball or baseball. It's a thing that moves the ball from the pitcher's mound to the home plate for the batter. But what's a pitch in business?
Yeah, so pitch in business is a really, really key part of starting a company. And I've pitched hundreds and hundreds of times, but for starters, let's talk about what it is. And really, a pitch is a sales presentation that summarizes who you are, what your business is, and you're trying to sell that person that you're pitching to on your product, your service, and yourself. And so it's really it's a tricky thing to nail down, but pitches can be anywhere from 60 seconds. I've done 60-second elevator pitches because that's about the time it takes to go up and down an elevator. And then they could range up to 5 to 8 minutes. And so really, depending on who you're pitching to and what you're pitching dictates how long you should be talking for. But if you've ever tried to convince your parents to buy you something, or to take you somewhere or to do something, you've basically already done a pitch. So it's not too much different than something that you've probably already done in your everyday life. But the first step is identifying yourself. So who you are, your name, your age, your title. If you're the entrepreneur, if you're the CEO, if you're the founder, you want to identify that in the first line of your pitch. And then, you want to identify your product or your business or your service. So when you founded your company, when it was started, when you came up with the idea, and then what your product is, what the service is, and kind of how that plays into your niche. So for me, hi, I'm Alina Morse. I'm 16 years old, and I'm the CEO and founder of Zolli Candy. I came up with the idea for Zolli Candy when I was 7 years old, and it's a candy that cleans your teeth. So it sums it up super quickly, but it gave you a good idea of who I am, what I'm doing, and what Zolli Candy is. And so it can be as detailed or as simple and vague as you find appropriate for the time that you're given. Oftentimes when you're doing a pitch, you can look at the example of the Shark Tank show. It's a very quick pitch, usually within a minute or two, and then it goes into questions. So depending on how long you're given to pitch, you want to include as much detail as you can by keeping it simple. The key is really to keep it simple and to be concise. So after you outline who you are, what your business is, you want to take into account who you're pitching to. So whether it's a customer that you're trying to get to buy your product, or it's a buyer for a retailer that you're trying to get your product into, or you're talking to an investor to raise money for your company. And so, if I was pitching to an investor, you want to talk about if you've had any prior investment, what's your history with investment, and then what your ask is. You want to identify that ask. And that's your whole goal in pitching. You're asking them for something at the end of the day, whether it's to buy your product or invest in your company. And so, if it's a customer, you want to identify your prices, your promotions, how they can buy the product, where they can buy the product. Those are all important details to take into account and consider when writing your pitch, depending on who you're writing it for. You want to get to the point. And, that's it's a tricky thing to do sometimes. And that's probably for me, the toughest point is, getting to the point. And so, writing a pitch, as simple as it sounds, it's just 60 seconds. There's a lot of revision. There's a lot of practicing, but the more you practice your pitch, the better you'll get at it. But at the end of the day, it's okay to be fun. Business isn't always super serious. And it's, good to know that there is a balance. It's okay to make a fun joke. I mean, on Good Morning America, when I was 9 years old, I said, "Don't be a dum-dum, have a Zolli Pop." And, got a good laugh out of everyone. And I think, the key is finding that balance between, being serious and being businessy, business oriented, and also being fun and lighthearted. Because at the end of the day, I'm a kid, I'm selling candy. Why wouldn't it be fun? So, it's okay to work in a fun joke if appropriate, and it's okay to be lighthearted. And, most importantly, just be confident, be concise, get to the point, and be true to yourself. It's an opportunity. Pitching really is just an opportunity to showcase who you are and what your business is. And, hopefully that'll connect with who you're talking to. And, as long as you take into account what they're looking for as well, and, what you're trying to get out of this relationship, you'll do great. Just keeping in mind those tips, and just keep practicing your pitch. After you have it, practice it in the bathroom mirror, practice it to your parents, to your friends, and get some feedback. Consider other people's opinions and how it comes across to other people, because at the end of the day, you are trying to connect with someone and share yourself and your product, but you're also looking for a response, and you're looking for that connection and how your pitch resonates with other people. And so, it's definitely an art form, writing and revising and practicing and memorizing a pitch. And it's quite a process. But as long as you know your business and you're confident, and you keep at it, you should do great. So pitching is definitely a big part of business. And it's something that you'll have to do most likely, even if you're not going into business, several times in your life. Job interviews are just pitching yourself. And so, it's an important skill to practice no matter what field you're going into.
Yeah. Yeah, I really I agree with that. We when we ask people to do things, that's a pitch. If you're at home, as you mentioned, or in a business situation, but understanding how to put together that pitch in a way that's cohesive and hits all the points. Thanks so much for covering that. We really appreciate it. And so finally, we come to the final part of our time together, and that is you have an opportunity for all the young people that will hear this program live, as well as the recordings that we will be sending out to classrooms who weren't able to be here at this hour. So why don't you roll that out and see, tell us what you're thinking.
Absolutely. So really, there's no better way to learn about marketing a product than to actually create an advertising campaign to market a product. And so we have a really cool opportunity for everyone watching, recorded and in person, or virtual, I guess. And it's to create a real advertising campaign on social media for my company, Zolli Candy. And in this case, it's a really simple or as complex as you'd like. So basically, you can create a series of posts, or a single post, or a video, or a graphic design art about Zolli Candy and our important messaging that we include on our bags, we include on our website, we include on our Wikipedia page. And so all of that information you can take into your, creative opinion and create something on Instagram, on TikTok, or on YouTube using hashtag ZolliCandyJA22 and hashtag ZolliCandy. So once you post your ad campaign to, like I said, Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, the account needs to be public. And we also, ask you use those hashtags so that we can analyze and collect those entries. A cool thing about this contest, though, is that it's not just one entry and then full stop. You can actually build upon your entry because the contest starts from today to May 1st. So you have a longer period of time for you to build upon your original entry for a chance to win the contest. You're encouraged to be creative and think about how you can engage our consumers, our purchasers, if you will, of Zolli Candy, and find new ways to get our messaging across. Our messaging really is all about creating an all-inclusive brand that everyone can enjoy. We're allergen friendly, we're diabetic friendly, we're fun, and we really are a brand that is family friendly and kid created, but mom approved. So it's good for you, but it also tastes amazing. So keeping all those things in mind, creating a video, creating graphics, wording, all of those things are up to you. You can work independently or in teams, and you must meet academic standards. So must be, something that's okay to share in school. You can use zollicandy.com, our Instagram, our TikTok, our YouTube, and our Wikipedia pages for all of your information regarding Zolli Candy. But if you use any unverified source, it may have incorrect information and may invalidate the entry. So the campaign, like I said, will run from today's date, February, I think 28th, and then it'll run till May 1st. The campaign criteria is based on, or our judging criteria is based on creativity, the campaign engagement, so number of views, comments, likes, reshares, etc., and then the sales of Zolli Candy attributed to the campaign. The judges are selected by Zolli Candy and our advertising agencies, and the most important part, of course, the prize. So the prizes include the winning ad campaign will be featured and boosted on our Zolli Candy social media channels, so our Instagram, our TikTok, our YouTube, and potentially on our retailer partner channels. So for example, Rite Aid, CVS, Target, or iHerb, depending on, our relationships with those retailers, nationally and internationally through all of those channels, with credit to the person or people that posted the original entry. Additionally, a coaching session with me and my marketing team as to how to grow your company, or any questions you have about being an entrepreneur or growing a business. A letter of reference, recommendation, and then some LinkedIn recommendations / connections from me and Zolli Candy, and Zolli Candy for your entire school. And then finally, yes, and then finally, that's not all. The winners or winner will receive a $500 scholarship from JA funded by Zolli Candy. So if the free candy wasn't enough, also, $500 scholarship. Okay. So, it's a really, really cool opportunity for you to create something that a company, a successful verified company will reshare and repost. And then also, getting some experience in being creative and creating content, making you kind of like an influencer. So, it's a good opportunity. I highly, highly recommend you at least give it a shot. Even if you're not, the most artsy person, you can really take this contest in any direction that you see fit, or that you're the most confident in. So it's a great opportunity to really expand your business knowledge and, hopefully win some candy.
There you go. So let me summarize. So basically, and you can correct me if I got any details wrong, but basically 3 social media channels, so TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram. Needs to be public, needs to be accurate, needs to be appropriate, needs to be on brand with Zolli, and great prizes. A coaching session with you, which would be worth priceless. A $500 scholarship and candy for your school. You could be an influencer and a hero. Just participate. And the deadline is May 1. So you've got a lot of time, but you want to get on this. Get it out there, see what can happen. Alina, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your school day to do this. Thank you so much for the opportunity to allow JA students to participate in your business. That's a very generous gesture on your part, and just we are really appreciative. You have any last comment that you want to share, or have you said it all?
If you're curious and looking for more information on Zolli Candy and our journey and my journey as an entrepreneur, check out our social medias at Zolli Candy on Instagram and TikTok, at Alina Morse on Instagram, and check out zollicandy.com. You can also shop Zolli Candy at Rite Aid, CVS, Whole Foods, select Walmart stores, Target.com, Amazon.com, and zollicandy.myshopify.com. So if you're interested in any of our products and want to try the after you eat treat for a healthy smile, make sure to check it out, and just keep smiling.
And there, my friends, is a true entrepreneur, providing you the opportunities to find out more about her product. Way to go, Alina. We cheer you on. We love entrepreneurs, and we love kid entrepreneurs. So good work. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and have a wonderful Monday.